Welcome to the Planted Not Buried podcast. I'm your host, Lance Thonvold, motivational speaker and former professional athlete with the Seattle Mariners. The mission of this podcast is to sow seeds of hope into your soul, dig up deep roots of purpose within you that have yet to be uncovered, and grow you exactly where God has planted you so that you can reap your ultimate harvest in life. I will be your host throughout this podcast, and you can expect power-packed, spirit-led, short, motivational messages designed to pierce your heart and move you into immediate action. Whether you're at the gym, in the car, or anywhere in between, I know how busy your life is, and want to personally thank you for taking the time to listen. My message for you is this: you are here on this earth for a reason. You've been planted for a season, and it's time to grow into all you're supposed to become. Please partner with me in planting this message of hope all over the world. And it starts with sowing one seed, sowing one episode into somebody else's life that could change them forever. Not because of me and my power, but because of God and the words He is going to speak through me and the way He is going to use you to distribute this message. Here are a few ways that we can plant this message into other people. Number one, subscribe to the podcast. I'll be dropping frequent messages designed to uplift, encourage, and reshape the way that you think. Please leave a review. I'm always going for a 5-star rating. Number two, just share this podcast with somebody else. You're hearing this for a reason. Pour out this message to somebody else that needs it. Share it via text, or just simply take a screenshot and post it to your Instagram story and tag me, and I will always do my best to give you a shout out and a repost. You can tag me at LannyT42 on Instagram, and with your help, together we can keep plowing for a more purposeful tomorrow. And put your gloves on, folks, because we got root work to do. Welcome to the Planted Not Buried podcast. Welcome back to the Planted Not Buried podcast. I got this word for you guys. You are not for everybody, but you are for somebody. Man, I think so many times in our life we get caught up in the approval of everybody that we miss our mission of somebody. We get caught trying to please everyone and everybody that we miss the somebody that really needs us, the somebody that really needs our vision, the somebody that really needs our action. I can remember in 2020 or 2021, it was one of the first times I had recorded one of my messages. It was the first time I thought, you know what, I'm going to bring my phone, I'm going to record a message that I give to these kids. I'd been speaking for a couple of years after baseball now, and I was like, okay, maybe I should record these and post these messages so they can be heard by more people. Now I thought that's a good idea. And this is how the devil runs. The first time I record my message, it was such a powerful message. It was so good. There was probably 80 to 100 kids there at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes event. And I got done feeling so empowered by the Holy Spirit. Kids were talking to me after. It was fruitful. It was such a fruitful message from God. And then I get done and I go back and I look at the video that I had recorded. And this is before I knew where to set up. This is really before I knew like what was gonna be best, camera angle, whatever. I just had set my phone up, in the back. You could see the crowd and you could see me, and it wasn't very close up. And I go back and I'm starting to study and look at the way that I spoke, how the audience responded, and overall just, listening to the message again. And I get to a point in the message, in the video, and I can see there's kids laughing or there's kids not paying attention. And I don't know if it was because of me or because of something else, but the point is, I was hurt and offended because I thought it was me that they may have been laughing at or not paying attention to. And that's how the devil runs. Because the first time I record my message, I know that somebody there received it. I know that somebody there needed it because they came up to me after. And I can remember this, in this particular time, a girl came up to me after and she was crying because she had just torn her labrum in her shoulder. And she came up to me crying and she said that message was for me today. So the same time that message was for that girl who was going through hard times in her softball journey and all of her injuries, and she was pouring out her soul to me, crying to me, telling me about all of her struggles and how hard it's been because she's such a hard worker and she wants to be back on the field so bad, but her body's not physically being able to do it. And she said that message was for me, and she left completely changed. But at the same time, I go back and look at the video and I see people laughing and not paying attention. And that's where the devil runs deep. Because I think a lot of you may be in the situation where you're focusing on the people in the background. You're focusing on the crowd that's not paying attention or the people that aren't approving of your message instead of the one who's coming up to you crying. Come on, Holy Spirit. Like, God is so good that he can take your message and pierce the hearts of individuals, but at the same time, the devil can operate and make that message miss somebody's heart. And that's what was happening that day. It was completely missed by some people, but it was completely felt by somebody. Okay? So your actions, your vision, your message, your words, the way that you live, the way that you operate, the way that you are going into spaces that have been predestined before you by the one true King. You're walking in those doors. You have to get through your head that your actions aren't going to be for everybody there. And if we get caught up trying to please everybody, we're going to miss the somebodies that are crying out to you for your vision and your message. I think in life, we are meant for somebody. We truly are. We truly are. But there is a sense of perfectionism that we want everybody to love us. So we strive for perfection for everybody, that we miss the somebodies. And the encouragement today is, don't miss the somebodies while you're going after the approval of everybody. And there's two kickers to this. So kicker number one is when you finally get unlocked, when you finally unlock these chains on your message and on your life and on the things that you bring to the world, the things that you post, the people that you pray for, when you finally unlock yourself from trying to be approved by everybody and say, no, I don't need the approval of everybody. I don't need to strive for that perfection. Now your voice is going to get louder for the somebodies because it's not locked into everybody's approval. And here's the kicker to that. When you finally get unlocked and it gets louder for the somebodies, for the people who need it, for the crying girls in the crowd, when you realize that your voice is for the crying girls in the crowd, on any particular day, anywhere that you go, any space that you operate in, is for those people, that's when your voice gets the loudest. That's when you come unhinged and unlocked. That's when you get the keys from heaven to distribute the message to the hearts that are humble enough to receive it. Because there's gonna be the kids in the back that are goofing around that miss it because they're not ready for it. It's not their time. And that's not for you to decide. What is for you to do is to take the action necessary to distribute the message and the calling that's been given to you. So kicker number one is when you finally get unlocked, you stop trying to seek the approval of everybody. And when you stop trying to seek the approval of everybody and you just go after the somebodies that you've been given to steward over with full heart, with full tenacity, with full drive, when you start going after the somebodies with that type of victory, with that type of predestination over your life and over your message, what starts to happen is, here's the kicker, everybody comes back around. When you don't pay attention to everybody's approval and you go for the somebody's hearts that have been waiting for you, the everybody's that didn't like you at first, or that made fun of you in the crowd, or that laughed at you, they become the somebodies. But they have to surrender their ego and their mindset to become the somebodies that your message is for. Okay, that's kicker number one. The everybody's will come back around. It's not for everybody at every given time. Okay, and kicker number two, your voice gets louder when you realize the post, the prayer, and the practice of planting the seeds you've been given to plant can get no likes or no response, and it doesn't affect you because you finally realize that all along your life hasn't been meant to please everyone or even somebody, but to please the one body that was given and shed for you before you were born or even thought of. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. Live life in kicker 2 mode. Mode that unlocks your deepest promise, that can change others and change the culture and change the trajectory of their eternal destination. When your mind is set on kicker 2 mode, the mission becomes less about approval and more about who approves of you, and the actions the provider of approval needs you to amplify today. The provider of approval needs you to amplify a message today. And a thing that's crazy is that message that needs to be amplified today, it may not even be the right timing for somebody to receive it, but they will come back to the amplification of the message that you were given. They will come back to it in God's timing. Come on, y'all. You are not for everybody, but you are for somebody. And you are here to not seek approval from everybody or even somebody, but from the one body that was given and shed for you way before you were even thought of or even born. That's living life in kicker 2 mode. That's living life fully surrendered to the Holy Spirit, fully surrendered to the actions, vision, and message that you've been given to distribute to this world. Don't hold it in. Don't withhold your message and the promises that the one that approves of you has been given because you're seeking approval from everybody. Your life is for somebody. Your message is for somebody. Don't get caught up trying to catch everyone. You are for someone. Go out, amplify the message you've been given, and don't pay any attention to what everybody thinks of you. Because what everybody thinks of you does not change hearts and souls. It doesn't. It doesn't. There are people out there looking at their social media accounts, wondering why the post got no likes, wondering why that message wasn't received in that environment. When you get to a place and you realize that the post, the prayer, or the message that you're out here distributing can be liked by no one, that and you're still okay, that's when you realize that it was never for everyone. It was for the one. And when you get to a place fully surrendered and you operate from the vision that's been given to you, the likes don't even matter anymore. Are you chasing souls? Are you going after souls? Are you going after impact of souls? Or are you going after your own? Are you going after your own accounts? Are you going after your own accords? Like, pour out all of the substance that you've been given. Pour it all out onto others as much as you possibly can, and don't withhold things because you're wanting the approval of everybody. There is one body who approves of you, and his name is God, and he's up in heaven looking down on you saying, let's go. Good work, my faithful servant. Good work for amplifying my message when nobody picks it up, or when only a few somebodies pick it up. But that doesn't change your conviction behind the calling. Tune in next time to the Planted, Not Buried podcast. Man, oh man. Put your gloves on, baby, because we got root work to do. Let's get it. Let's go. Thank you for listening to the Planted, Not Buried podcast. Remember, you're here on this earth for a reason. You've been planted for a season, and it's time to grow into all you're supposed to become. Please partner with me in planting this message of hope all over the world. It starts with just sowing one seed and sowing one episode into somebody else's life that could literally change them forever, not because of me and my power, but because of what God is going to speak through me and how he's going to use you to distribute his messages. And here's just a few ways that we can plant this message into other people. Number one, just subscribe to the podcast. I'm going to be dropping frequent, power-packed messages designed to uplift, encourage, and reshape the way you think. Leave a 5-star review and just share this podcast with somebody else. You're hearing it for a reason. Pour it out to somebody else that you know that needs it. Pray about it, think about it, and share it with them via text, or just take a screenshot and post it to your Instagram or Facebook story. And I'll always do my best to give you a shout out or repost. And with your help, you guys, together, we can keep plowing for a more purposeful tomorrow. If you want to get connected with me further, or have me come out and speak to your school, speak to your organization or team, just go to lancethonvold.com and fill out the booking form, or just simply email me at info@lancethonvold.com, or we can get connected on all social platforms under Lance Thonvold or LannyT42 on Instagram. As always, guys, put your gloves on because we got root work to do. We will see you next time on the Planted, Not Buried podcast.